Morning, March the 18th. Rise and shine. Happy Monday. And in my family's case, happy spring break. Good morning to you. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's doing in the world of weather, and it's a little gray outside. Here's a live look from our Tavares Tower cam. Not the most pretty sight you've ever seen. Of course, Central Florida is still beautiful. It's just gray outside, right? It's not just that camera as well. If we take you over to Brevard County, let's take a look at Port Canaveral. Weather stem camera there, kind of gray. Inland, but sunny at the coast. How pretty is that? Let me take you over to the jetty. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the sun is rising, my friends. It's going to be a beautiful morning. It's not going to be a perfectly beautiful day, but it's going to be at least a beautiful morning. All right. First warning, live Doppler radar tracking some rains around, right? Here's a look around Marion County. As a matter of fact, let's just take a live look. I didn't even think to do that. Live look at a couple of our weather stem cameras there, see what's doing. Up at the McIntosh area. Definitely gray on our weather stem camera there. And over to the Marion County Emergency Operations Center, also gray. Okay, no rain's falling in those spots. But to our first warning live Doppler radar we go. We'll zoom in. We do have a few flashes of lightning and rumbles of thunder. Kind of see the rains moving on through. Fellowship, Anthony, north of Ocala. At the moment, at least, there's nothing too strong. We are picking up on some little wind gusts in there, running 25, 30 or so miles an hour. That's from our live radar. So some heavier stuff there down to Bellevue, Dunellen, watching some heavier swaths of rain sneaking on in. And a nice little complex of storms off the shoreline there of Spring Hill that'll be trying to move in. It's pretty far for our radar's velocity data. Yeah, if we look at the Tampa radar, 20, 22, 25 miles an hour. So there is definitely some stuff off the shoreline to track. Temperatures, nice and warm out the door. 70s for most of us, a few upper 60s. Notice through the day today, though, this shouldn't be a surprise just looking at that radar this morning. We've got thunderstorms in the forecast today, friends. Some showers this morning, thunderstorms into the afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the 80s. So, yeah, it's not going to be what you'd call a picture-perfect day. So a couple of things to take note about. First off, rain chances continue up into the afternoon, and then into tonight they start to fade. Notice that those temperatures are going to be nice and warm, but also a nice gusty day, all right? So, again, we're going to be checking back in on our first warning live Doppler radar fairly often through Coffee Talk. But let's take a look at temperatures around town today. Cooler north and west of town because of the rains arriving, the clouds, and eventually that front will be sneaking in early across town. Now, let's look at that cold front as it stands right now, okay? You can see those storms moving on in. Mickey's asking why no yellow icon. It's not a first warning weather day, and we're not even really calling this a first warning impact day, if I'm honest, okay? We've got showers and thunder showers in there, and the Storm Prediction Center has placed us under a level 1 risk, 1 out of 5 risk for strong to severe storms, but the dynamics are not very concerning, we'll say. Could we get an isolated stronger storm? Sure. But I'm not overly concerned that this is going to be much, right? Temperature, when you look at severe weather parameters, one of the big things that you look for is shear, cape, lift. There's all different kinds of things here. And we're definitely going to get some storms. Some of them could get a little feisty. But, it's cloudy outside. There's a lot of things that scream to me that this is not going to be like a big concern of severe weather. Lots of clouds moving in. Cold shelf waters around, right? So, and we can deep dive into some of that. For example, here, let's do this. Let's just take a look at our Futurecast and let's kind of compare and contrast all of the models, all right? So our Futurecast doing a really good job of bringing the rains in this morning. All right. Notice, though, 11:30, 12 o'clock, more intense stuff. Now, I'll tell you, if you were watching me yesterday at this time, you'd know that Futurecast had a few showers and that's it moving through. So if I'm honest with you, the model's trying to pulse up the activity, which is an interesting adjustment. All right? Into the afternoon, that clears on out. So it really is kind of that lunchtime scenario, right? There's 10, 11, right? In that window is when I think we're going to have the stronger storms if we have that. All right, so that's our Futurecast model. Let's dial into our beta Futurecast and see what it's trying to show. All right, so same time frame, like late morning, early afternoon, watching some stronger storms trying to sneak through, except beta Futurecast is trying to throw in more moisture into the afternoon. So I think that, if I'm honest with you, the idea here that the models are not lining up at all. They're just not. I think that that's probably why the Storm Prediction Center has done what they've done, which is call for that isolated threat for strong to severe storms. Because from model to model, we've got two Futurecast models, our operational, if you will, and then our beta. They're completely different. Now, that said, let's pop up the high-resolution rapid refresh, the HER model. This is run by the United States government, showing some of those storms around this morning. Notice how it's pushing a couple of stronger storms, but only through our southern spots this afternoon, right? Yeah. So, there's not much there for the rest of town. Our southern spots may get some stuff. And then, into like 3, 4 o'clock, maybe some indications there. Mickey said, I was looking at the HER soundings, has an STP of 2 later on today. That's just the struggle, right? Is each different model has a completely different look to it, right? And that's where it's a little frustrating in the weather world. When you've got a cold front coming on in, and the models are completely disagreeing. Now, we could take it even a step further. Let's look at the European and the GFS models, right? Because at least yesterday morning, the Euro was showing rain all day. Look at how both models are showing a lot of rain around midday, and they're actually both pretty wet, both the European and GFS. Now, remember that the European and the GFS, they're lower resolution grids here, so it's not as high resolution as like the HER and the Futurecast models, but at least they're that. Now let's take a look, because our Futurecast, if you remember, I'll take it right back here. Our Futurecast was trying to get a little feistier, so let's look at some of the severe parameters off of our Futurecast, okay? Give it a second to load it up. All right, so tornado risk off of our Futurecast. Hardly anything. All right. Barren side, the beta Futurecast. See, and then you see that. And it's just like the beta Futurecast is throwing it in there. So this is one of the more frustrating parts of forecasting. And I think that that's probably, that reason alone is probably why the Storm Prediction Center went ahead and said, all right, isolate it. And I think that that's the right call. So for today, there's an isolated threat for a strong to severe storm. We're not looking at any high-end tornado outbreak, that sort of thing, thankfully. But when we look at the threats, kind of broken down impact by impact, the wind and the hail threat seem to be the bigger of the concerns, okay? All right. Yukon's asking, is the future radar on the WESH app part of Futurecast? It should be. That should be our I haven't looked at it in a good long while, and I'm not going to do it now. But yes, it should be. And to that point, also, remember you can download the app. I'll give you a little secret. Okay, you download the WESH 2 app. Okay, and then You can turn on the alerts to get severe weather alerts, but pro tip, all right, so let's open the app together. And the bosses are not telling me to do this. I'm doing this because we put work into this. Okay, so here's the Wesh app. You click in the top left, the little hamburger, and then you can click on weather, right? All right, so you click weather. We've got our stuff. If you click view interactive radar, okay, you're going to have radar. But it's going to be a composite, a national composite, because to most users, the national composite is all they need. But if you're here hanging on Coffee Talk, you're probably a little more dialed into nerddom. So, fun fact, if you click on the layers in the bottom right corner, okay, radar is automatically selected. To the left, you've got first warning live Doppler radar. Click that. All of a sudden now, you've got my radar, Tony's radar, Kellyanne's radar. And look at the resolution difference you get. That is our actual first warning live Doppler radar, okay? Instead of a composite that updates every 5 minutes, our radar scans every minute. And if we need to speed it up, we can speed it up. But use that tool between the notifications and between our live radar. It'll give you exactly what you're looking for. It is a much, much better tool. So, yeah. All right, let's pop. Speaking of live radar, let's pop back over to the live radar. That's a feisty little bugger there coming in around Spring Hill, right? See it there? It's starting to appear to pulse up just a little bit. Tampa radar. Let's look at the trend on the Tampa radar because it's probably closest. It looked like it peaked out a little bit ago. Maybe it was trying to develop a little bit of a hail core. Little bugger with a broad rotation. Nothing too bad. But again, it just kind of, that's what we're looking at, right? Is some decent little storms today. So, all right, let's go over kind of the forecast looking ahead. So we've got this front moving on through, bringing us showers and thunder showers today. It clears. We're going to turn colder tomorrow, people. Like, seriously, wowza colder, okay? After that, it's a relatively short-lived colder. After that, we turn milder. And then by Thursday, while we're sitting milder, we're going to start to watch out west for another storm system. This is our little active weather pattern. Okay, for Central Florida. We know as things cycle through, the active patterns kind of hang out, and this is the active pattern. So we've got storms today. Let's look at where we'll wake up tomorrow morning in terms of temperatures. I'll give you a second because this is going to, emotionally, we need to accept this again. I'll give you a moment. Yeah. 52 tomorrow morning. Coffee Talk tomorrow morning is going to be all about the chill. 43 in the Villages, 48 degrees in DeLand. It's going to be a chilly morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're not making it out of the 60s. Cheryl says, wait, what? This is why I'm here, Cheryl, to make sure you're aware. This is why I'm here. Jeannie says he knows his audience. We need to let all the different weather settle in. I try to give you that space that you need. I try to be a compassionate meteorological friend, right? Look at tomorrow's afternoon temperatures. 68 in the city. 66 for a high temperature in Ocala. 62 for a high temperature in Daytona Beach. 57 for a high temperature in Palm Coast. What? And then Wednesday morning. What? This is where I feel like I should be Homer Simpson, like going back in the grass. You see that, right? Now, that said, Wednesday afternoon, we start to climb back into the 70s, right? That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Thursday morning, okay, still chilly, but no, I don't see any 30s. Thursday afternoon, all right, we're back to nearly 80 degrees. Friday morning, okay, 50s and 60s. Friday afternoon, mid 70s, and then Saturday, which this is like the cruel joke. We're on spring break this week, and it gets chilly. Saturday morning, cool, right? So we're on spring break this week, and of course it's going to get chilly, but it wouldn't be a spring break unless we had that, lower end threat for strong to severe storms. So good times. All right, so let's look ahead to this spring break here. Let's get an idea of where we're headed. Okay, so for today we've got showers, thunder showers. Low end threat for an isolated strong to severe storm. Okay. Tomorrow, spring begins at like 11 and change at night. So like tomorrow is like 94% still winter. Nice Wednesday, nice Thursday, cool mornings, comfortable afternoons. Friday is going to be another opportunity for strong to severe storms. And then Saturday, Sunday, like, geez Louise, that is a gorgeous looking forecast. So we've talked a little bit about our setup today with those storms coming in from the Gulf. Notice what happens Thursday as our temperatures are warming. Another storm system will be moving in from the Gulf. And if you've followed this for a while, if you've followed me for a while and my forecasting for a while, you know that this little storm system coming in on Friday is the Gulf to Carolinas low that we have talked about for months that will be recycling come hurricane season. So it's another opportunity to kind of see that through. And if you're not familiar with the hurricane forecasting that we do, it's cool. I'll tell you, it's cool. Head over to wesh.com/hurricane forecast, wesh.com/hurricane forecast. On that website, there's a full article about what we do, how we do it, how we've done in the past, and this upcoming hurricane season. But this thing happening Friday is a part of that weather pattern, okay? All right, so let's do a couple of things here. First off, let's look at some of the raw models together, all right, and see what's doing. We've got that low pressure over us now. Sure, it's that storm system. High pressure builds in. There's your Gulf to Carolinas low. Look at that. Look at that. It's a little far south on this iteration of the GFS, but it goes right where it's supposed to go, right? Interesting little storm system east of us around the 26th. Fairly quiet weather for the first couple of days of April. Yeah, that makes sense. Like that. All right. But yeah, coming back to the Gulf to Carolinas, though, like there it is. If you look, there's the current run. Go back a model run. Go back 2 model runs. Go back 3 model runs. Yeah, so it's always fun. Always fun. Another thing I want to do, and I don't know if I've got it quick. Of course, I don't have it quickly set up. All right, give me a few seconds. I want to look at the pivotal weather severe parameters for today. All right, give me a second. All right, perfect. All right, pivotal weather's severe parameters. Pivotalweather.com. I do not own it. I do not run it. I do not get paid to use it. I'm just telling you right now, it's a good resource. All right, so let's look at the convective allowing models. Let's look at, we've got a new HER model run coming in today. Let's get a sounding. KMCO. All right. And I'll try and enlarge it that way you can see the sounding. And I want to leave where it says pivotal weather because I am using it off their website. And thank you very much to Pivotal Weather for that. Okay. All right, so 12Z, that's this morning. Continuing on. Now we're starting to get, there's just enough a scenario to get some severe. It's not great. It's not it's not like a straight up goalpost or anything. Notice on the bottom corner there where it says SARS sounding analogs, okay? That's one of the analysis tools that we are able to use there. And you'll see right off the bat in red there, significant hail events, 97, 97, 96. So what that's doing is that's looking around Topeka, areas that have had this kind of a sounding profile some areas have gotten some decent hail. So definitely thinking that hail is probably a big-ish concern because it's still cold upstairs, etc. And you can see the temperatures there on the skew T, right? But getting into the afternoon, this is the afternoon time frame, right? So what is it? Let's just double check our Zulu time. With the time change, it always throws me off. All right, so Zulu time is plus 4 hours. So that's 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. So that's 1 p.m. So this is about the time frame, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So about 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So about 15Z is about when we should be, according to our Futurecast, seeing the severe weather threat moving in. So that's going to be about 11, so that's going to be about 15Z. So when we look at the different models, like there's some indicators there of some hail. The tornado on the bottom right corner, using their algorithms, it's not like a huge algorithm for tornadoes. I'll just do that. That way you can see the whole thing there. It's low end tornado threat. Okay. We'll roll through. Now, this is the HER. We're going to look at all the different models together. And we're going to really circle it around 15Z because 15Z is about when. Now, into late this afternoon, that's 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. So that's about noonish, Temperature 86, which is a little warm. So the HER's going a little warm, but 86 with a shear profile, a decent little shear profile. I don't see huge CAPE. I don't see huge lifted index. Then you get into a little more shear late this afternoon. So it's a low end threat. It's a low end threat, right? If something pops late this afternoon, you get into that threat. Right? Like this is what? That's 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. That's 5 p.m. Most of the models are saying by 5 p.m. it should be cleared out. The atmosphere, at least according to the HER, is going to look better at 5 p.m. Let's go to the GFS. Let's go to the GFS. And that's going to be the 6Z. Let's roll through time. So this is going to be, that's 12Z, so that's not a thing. Let's get into the later morning. GFS at 15Z. Yeah, I mean, the HER is a little more excited. We can do the NAM. 6Z, so that's 12Z. I mean, again, from model run to model run, I mean, the NAM's, that's 15Z. There's a little something there. There's a little something there. Not a ton, but there's a little. This is where it's frustrating when we look at model guidance, right? Because when you look at the hodograph, the skew T, when you look at the different analogs, from model run to model run, they're figuring this out differently. And so at this point, I would say just using my meteorology background from living in Central Florida as long as I have, look at the front. It's coming in. It's firing up storms, okay? Are they pulsing up or are they pulsing down? At the moment, they look like they're pulsing up. So there's some energy there. There's definitely some energy. Do I think that it's going to become this widespread outbreak type thing? No, thankfully not. But there is energy in play. So I would say that we are going to have to at least watch, right? And my guess would be that hail and gusty winds are going to be the thing, right? Let's pop back up our live radar and check on those cells coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, I mean, they're not weakening. And that's always the tell when you watch for that influence off the shelf. That's our radar. It's a little far. Tampa radar. I mean, that's a squirrely little bird there. Not a tornado. But you notice it's interacting with the cooler shelf waters. It's kind of starting to feel some friction, and once it comes ashore, there's some subtle broad rotation there. Okay, and then behind it there's another one. So as I'm watching this, the models aren't figuring it out. But I'll tell you, just in looking at these cells, there are a couple of feisty, squirrely birds, right? And for those of you that have not watched Coffee Talk much, when I'm talking about that, we've got one decent little cell there, one decent little cell there. And if you switch over to the velocity channels, both of those two cells, 1 and 2, are showing broad rotation. Okay? It's not like it's going to be a massive thing. So, showers and thunder showers are in the forecast. Brent says when Eric comes back in the comments, he's jumping in a sheer. I know there's been a lot of. I'm sorry, I've been fully in analysis mode today, so I've not really been able to dive deep into those comments there. But watching the radar there, we're gonna have to watch and kind of keep tabs on how this plays out today. All right, now we can talk. We can talk about things. I would say, though, that I would probably, if just looking at this, I would probably put the tornado threat in that isolated risk as well. Again, it's not nothing, right? We're circling the low threat today for isolated strong to severe storms. But if I'm honest, I would also be circling in the tornado. This is not Kellyanne's product. This is a product that is put together by the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. They're going to put an update out at like 8:45, 9 o'clock, and I wouldn't be surprised if they added some of that tornado coloring in there for the very reason that we've discussed. Like, some of these cells are coming in off the Gulf. Yeah. So, that's where we're at. All right. It's a shame you missed the comments. It's been top-notch. Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah, Mickey says the new SPC Outlook comes in around 9 a.m. Yep. No, we're not flying today. No. I'm not flying this week. It's spring break with the kids. So I'm just repurposing it from a flying shirt to a I'm on vacation shirt. Yeah. Can you wear the bluey shirt on all severe weather days? Today's not a huge severe weather threat, but I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Looking at this radar, I'm fairly impressed. These cells are wanting to overperform a little bit. There's, again, a look at our live radar. Decent little couplet there near Brook Ridge and Sugar Mill Woods. It's broad. There's nothing, it's not like it's tornadoing or anything. This is the Tampa radar. It's a little, like, that's our velocity. It's just a little far for our radar. Although look at how much smaller our pixels are than the National Weather Service radar, right? But at any rate, yeah. I'm not doing IFR today. Yeah. So kind of an impressive couple of little notches there on the radar. This is the Tampa radar. It's the closest radar we have to the storms. and they're looking pretty decent. Yeah. All right. So that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. And then, of course, here into Flag. Don't forget around Flagler, let me switch back over to our radar. Salt Springs getting a nice little thunderstorm right now. No severe winds or anything, but some good heavy rain, flashes of lightning. That's going to be moving over into Flagler County in short order. All right. I'll put a storm track on it for you. Need coffee first. All right. So at 30 miles an hour, this is about when that rain will be moving in, all right? So for my Flagler County friends, Shell Bluff at 8:53, Bunnell 9:15, and Palm Coast at 9:30, the heavy rain, and maybe even to Corona. That's at least when the heaviest stuff is working on in, all right? All right, what about these other feisty cells? Let's take a look. We'll come over to the Gulf Coast, all right? Sugar Mill Woods, that first kind of nastier cell there. This is off our live radar. We'll track it into about Leesburg. Yeah. All right. So there's your timeline. So Bushnell 920, Wildwood 948, Leesburg 950, and Eustis at 1016. All right. So that's where we're at. All right. So showers, thunder showers today. We will be popping data as is needed. You can certainly count on that. But aside from that, we've got a beautiful stretch of weather after today's storms, right? It's gorgeous. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, sunshine, and then more storms in the forecast coming in on Friday. All right? All right, I'm on spring break, so I'll be posting as needed, but I'm going to go do the dad thing. Okay? All right, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'll talk to you all later. We'll be tracking the storms. Bye.